Kim Dae-ho wiped the sweat from his forehead as he checked his oxygen levels. The mining station New Seoul floated in the dark space between asteroids, its lights blinking like a small city among the rocks. He had been working there for 3 years now, first as a doctor and then as someone who studied alien life forms. Most days were quiet and boring. Today was different. His radio crackled to life. "Dae-ho, we need you on Survey Team 3. There's something strange on asteroid K-47. The voice belonged to Captain Park, the station commander. Dae-ho grabbed his medical kit and spacesuit. "What kind of strange? Metal readings that don't match anything we know. Could be a ship." 20 minutes later, Dae-ho was floating through space in a small shuttle with 2 other crew members. The asteroid ahead looked like all the others, gray, rocky, and cold. But as they got closer, he could see something shiny sticking out from a crack in the rock. "There," said pilot Lee Min-ho, pointing. "Looks like a crash site." The metal was unlike anything Dae-ho had seen before. It seemed to change colors as the shuttle's lights hit it, shifting from blue to silver to something that hurt his eyes to look at. The ship, and it was definitely a ship, had been buried deep in the asteroid's surface. "Scan for life signs," Dae-ho ordered. The scanner beeped weakly. "Something's alive in there," Min-ho said. "Barely." They landed the shuttle and put on their spacesuits. The asteroid had no air, so they had to be careful. Dae-ho carried extra oxygen tanks and his full medical kit. If something was alive in that ship, it might need help. The ship's hull had a hole blown in one side. They squeezed through carefully. Inside, the ship was dark except for a few blinking lights. The walls were smooth and curved in ways that made Dae-ho feel dizzy. Everything was too tall and too narrow for humans. "Over here," called the 3rd crew member, Engineer Kim So-ra. She was shining her light on what looked like a chair or bed. Dae-ho moved closer and stopped breathing for a moment. There was someone in the chair. Someone who was definitely not human. The being was about the size of a human woman but thinner. Her skin was pale white with patches that looked like crystals growing from her arms and face. These crystal patches were dim now, barely glowing. Her hair was long and silver, floating around her head like she was underwater. Her face was similar to a human's, but with larger eyes that were closed now. "Is she breathing?" So-ra asked. Dae-ho checked his scanner. "Yes, but not much. She's dying." He looked around the ship. The air was thin and full of dangerous radiation. "Her life support system is broken." He knelt beside the alien woman and tried to think. Everything he knew about medicine was based on human bodies. This being might have completely different organs, different blood, different ways of staying alive, but she was clearly in trouble. The crystal patches on her skin were getting dimmer as he watched. Whatever they did, they were failing. "We need to get her back to the station," Dae-ho said. "Are you crazy?" Min-ho asked through the radio. "We don't know anything about her. She could be dangerous." "She's unconscious and dying," Dae-ho replied. "How dangerous can she be?" He carefully lifted the alien woman. She was lighter than a human would be, and her body felt warm despite the cold ship. The crystal patches on her skin flickered weakly against his suit. Getting back to the shuttle was hard. The alien woman's breathing got weaker during the trip. By the time they reached New Seoul Station, Dae-ho wasn't sure she was still alive. He carried her straight to the medical bay. Dr. Yoon Ji-hee, the other doctor on the station, was waiting for them. "What do we have?" she asked, then stopped when she saw what Dae-ho was carrying. "Oh my. Alien life form, unknown species," Dae-ho said quickly. "Severe respiratory distress, possible radiation poisoning, and some kind of organ failure. Those crystal things on her skin are getting dimmer." They put the alien woman on the medical table. Her breathing was so shallow it was hard to see. The crystal patches had almost stopped glowing completely. "I've never seen anything like this," Ji-hai said. "How do we even start?" Dae-ho looked at the readings on their machines. Her heart rate was very fast but getting slower. Her body temperature was dropping. "We treat her like a human and hope for the best." He started an IV line, guessing at where her veins might be. The needle went in easier than he expected, and dark blue blood flowed into the tube. Not red like human blood, but it was still blood. "Oxygen," he said. Ji-hai brought the oxygen mask and they fitted it over the alien's nose and mouth. It seemed to fit well enough. For the next 4 hours, Dae-ho and Ji-hai worked to save the alien woman's life. They gave her fluids for dehydration. They used radiation medicine to fight the poison in her body. They used machines to help her heart beat properly. Slowly, very slowly, her condition got better. The crystal patches began to glow a little brighter. Her breathing became deeper and more regular. "I think she's going to live," Jihai said. Deho nodded, exhausted. He had just saved the life of the first alien being he had ever met. It felt strange and wonderful at the same time. The alien woman's eyes suddenly opened. They were large and dark blue like deep ocean water. She looked around the medical bay in confusion, then her eyes fixed on Deho's face. She tried to sit up but was too weak. Instead, she reached out with one hand toward him. Deho, without thinking, took her hand in his. The moment their skin touched, the alien woman's eyes went very wide. She made a sound that might have been surprise or fear. Her crystal patches suddenly blazed bright white for just a second. She said something in a language Deho had never heard. The words sounded musical but urgent. She kept looking at their joined hands like she couldn't believe what she was seeing. Then she fell back onto the bed, unconscious again. "What was that about?" Jihai asked. Deho looked down at his hand, which still felt warm from the alien woman's touch. "I don't know," he said. "But I have a feeling our lives just became much more complicated." 3 days passed before the alien woman woke up again. During that time, Deho barely left the medical bay. He checked her vital signs every hour, adjusted her medicine, and made sure the machines were working properly. The crystal patches on her skin had returned to a soft blue glow, which seemed to be normal for her. Captain Park had sent messages to Earth about their discovery, but it would take weeks to get a reply. For now, they were on their own. "You should get some sleep," Dr. Jihai told Deho as he checked the alien woman's IV for the 10th time that morning. "I'm fine," Deho said. Though he felt tired down to his bones, "You saved her life. She's stable now. Go rest." Before Deho could answer, the alien woman stirred on the bed. Her large blue eyes opened slowly and looked around the room. When she saw Deho, she tried to smile. "Hello," she said in heavily accented but understandable Korean. Deho nearly dropped his scanner. "You speak our language?" "Little bit," she said, her voice soft and musical. "I learned fast. Been listening while sleeping." Jihai stepped forward with her tablet ready to record everything. "What's your name?" The alien woman looked confused for a moment, then said something in her own language that sounded like flowing water. "You can call me Nari. Is close to my real name." "Nari," Deho repeated. "I'm Kim Deho. I'm the doctor who helped you." Nari's eyes locked onto his face. "Yes, you saved my life." She tried to sit up and Deho helped her. "I must tell you something important." "What is it?" Nari looked worried. She spoke slowly, searching for the right words. "My people. We are called Villani. We have old law, very old. When someone saves Villani life, there is connection made." "What kind of connection?" Jihai asked. Nari touched the crystal patches on her arm. They glowed a little brighter. "Hard to explain in your language. When I nearly die, my body changes. Makes special chemicals. Needs to bond with person who saved me." Deho felt a cold feeling in his stomach. "Bond how?" "Must share life essence. Must become close, very close." Nari's cheeks turned darker, which might have been her version of blushing. "If not bond, I die anyway. Maybe one moon cycle." The medical bay was quiet except for the beeping of machines. Deho stared at Nari, trying to understand what she was saying. "Are you talking about mating?" Jihi asked directly. Nari nodded slowly. "Yes. Must copulate with lifesaver or body rejects all treatment. Is biological law of my species." Deho felt like someone had hit him in the chest. That's impossible. I saved you because you needed help. I didn't know about any of this." "I know," Nari said sadly. "You are a good person, but my body does not care about your intentions. It only knows you saved me." "Already the changes begin. What changes?" Deho asked. Nari held up her hands. The crystal patches were definitely brighter now, and they seemed to pulse slowly like a heartbeat. "These will get brighter and warmer when you are near. My body prepares for bonding. If no bonding happens, they will burn too hot and kill me." Jihai was taking notes quickly. "How long do we have?" "Maybe 20 of your days. Maybe less." Nari looked at Deho with sad eyes. "I am sorry. This is not fair to you. You saved me from one death only to give me another." Deho ran his hands through his hair. "There has to be another way. Medicine, surgery, something." "No," Nari said. "Many Villani have tried to break the life bond. All died. It's too strong, goes too deep into body and mind." "This is crazy," Deho said. He started pacing around the small medical bay. "I'm a doctor. I save lives because that's what doctors do. I can't be responsible for this. Nari watched him pace. You are not responsible. This is Villani biology, not your choice, but... She paused, looking down at her hands. I must ask something difficult. What? Would you consider it? The bonding? Deho stopped pacing. Nari, I know as much to ask, she said quickly. You do not know me.
I am alien to you.
But I do not want to die, and you seem kind person. Before Deho could answer, the medical bay door opened. Elder Taman walked in. He was the oldest person on the station, a man who had studied alien cultures for most of his life. I heard we have a visitor, he said, then stopped when he saw Nari. Remarkable. I've read about the Villani in some very old reports, but I never expected to meet one. You know about her people? Deho asked, a little. They were encountered once before, about 50 years ago, at the edge of our galaxy. Very advanced, very peaceful, but they disappeared before we could make proper contact. Taman looked at Nari. What brings you so far from home? Nari explained about being an explorer, how her ship had engine problems and crashed on the asteroid. She had been unconscious for days before Deho found her, and now she says she has to mate with me or she'll die, Deho said bluntly. Taman nodded seriously. Ah yes, the life bond. I remember reading about it. Very rare, but absolutely real. It's not just cultural, it's biological. Villani evolved this trait to create powerful alliances with other species. So it's true? Jihai asked. Completely true, and there's no known way around it. Taman looked at Deho with sympathy. I'm sorry, young man. You've been put in an impossible situation. Deho sat down heavily in a chair. This can't be happening. Nari struggled to sit up straighter. Please understand, I do not wish to force you. If you say no, I will accept death. Is my burden not yours? Don't talk like that, Deho said. I didn't save your life just to let you die now. Then what will you do? Taman asked. Deho looked at Nari. She was beautiful in an alien way, and she seemed kind and intelligent. But he had known her for only 3 days. The whole situation felt impossible. I need time to think, he said. Of course, Nari said. But remember, not much time. Maybe 20 days. The next few hours were the hardest of Deho's life. He walked around the station trying to clear his head. Other crew members had heard about Nari by now and they all had opinions. You can't be serious about this, his friend Jinwoo said when they met in the cafeteria. She's an alien. We don't know anything about her species. What if it's some kind of trick? She was dying when I found her, Deho replied. If it's a trick, it's a very expensive one. But mating with her? That's crazy. I know it sounds crazy. But what if it's real? What if she really will die if I don't help her? Jinwoo shook his head. This isn't your responsibility, Deho. You're a doctor, not a whatever the situation needs. That evening, Deho called his sister Heejin on Earth. The transmission delay made conversation difficult, but he needed to talk to someone he trusted. It sounds impossible, Heejin said when he explained everything. But you've always been someone who helps people even when it's hard. What does your heart tell you? I don't know, Deho admitted. She seems nice, but I barely know her, and the whole situation is so strange. Maybe you should try to know her better, Heejin suggested. You have a few weeks. Learn about her, her culture, her dreams, then decide. After the call ended, Deho went back to the medical bay. Nari was sitting up in bed looking out the small window at the stars. Cannot sleep, she asked when she saw him. Too much to think about. He sat in the chair next to her bed. Tell me about your home, your people. Nari's eyes lit up. You really want to know? Yes, if I'm going to consider this, I should know who you are. Nari smiled for the first time since he had met her. My home world is called Valara. Is beautiful place with crystal cities and silver seas. My people are explorers and scientists. We travel between stars to learn new things. What do you do? Your job, I mean. I study life forms on different worlds. Like you, but for my people. I wanted to find new species. Learn how life grows in different places. She looked sad. Was my first long journey. Wanted to prove I was ready for bigger explorations. They talked until late into the night. Deho learned that Nari loved music and mathematics, that she had 2 brothers back home, and that she dreamed of discovering worlds where multiple species lived together peacefully. When he finally went to his quarters to sleep, Deho realized something important. He actually liked Nari as a person. The question now was whether that was enough. 1 week had passed since Nari first told Deho about the life bond. During that time, he had spent hours talking with her, learning about her world and her people. He discovered that she was funny, smart, and kind. She asked many questions about Earth and human culture, and she seemed genuinely interested in his work as a doctor. But the biological changes in her body were getting stronger. The crystal patches are definitely brighter, Dr. He observed as she checked Nari's vital signs. And her body temperature rises whenever you're in the room, Deho. It was true. Whenever Deho came near her, the crystals on Nari's skin would glow more brightly and pulse faster. She said it didn't hurt, but it made her feel restless and warm. We need to understand this better, Deho said. Maybe if we know exactly how the life bond works, we can find another solution. Dr. So Young, the station's main scientist, had been studying Nari's blood samples and the readings from various scans. She met with Deho, Jihai, and Nari in the medical bay that morning. I found some interesting things, So Young said, looking at her tablet. Nari's blood contains chemicals I've never seen before. They're similar to human bonding hormones, but much stronger and more complex. What do they do? Deho asked. They seem to prepare her body for genetic exchange with another species. When you saved her life, Deho, her body somehow recorded your genetic signature. Now it's trying to bond with you specifically. Nari nodded. Is why it must be you. Body knows you saved me, knows your scent, your life force. Hard to translate. But here's the strange part, So Young continued. I've been running tests, and I think human and Villani genetics might actually be compatible. More compatible than they should be. What does that mean? Jihai asked. It means the bonding process might actually work, in theory. So Young looked uncomfortable. But we're talking about biological processes we don't fully understand. It could be dangerous for both of you. Nari looked worried. Dangerous how? Well, for you, Nari. If the bonding fails, your body might reject everything and shut down completely. For Deho, So Young paused. Human brains aren't designed to handle Villani telepathic connections. It could cause damage. Telepathic connections? Deho asked. This was the first time anyone had mentioned telepathy. Nari looked embarrassed. I did not tell you everything. The bonding is not just physical. Villani share minds during bonding. You would feel my thoughts, my memories. I would feel yours. Makes bond very strong, very deep. Deho felt overwhelmed. So not only would we have to be intimate, but you'd be inside my head? Not exactly inside. More like standing very close. You keep your own mind, but we share feelings and some memories. Nari reached for his hand, then stopped herself. Is too much to ask, I know. That afternoon, Deho walked alone through the station's observation deck. The stars outside looked cold and distant. He was thinking about Nari, about the impossible choice he had to make when Jinwoo joined him. You're really considering this, aren't you? Jinwoo said. I don't know what else to do. She'll die if I don't help her. But what about you? What about your life, your plans? You were going to go back to Earth next year, remember? Maybe meet someone, settle down. Deho had been thinking about that too. Maybe this is meeting someone. An alien, someone who you've known for a week. I've known plenty of humans for years and never felt as comfortable with them as I do with Nari. It was true. Despite the strange circumstances, talking with Nari felt easy and natural. Jinwoo sighed. You're falling for her. Maybe I am. Is that so crazy? Under normal circumstances? No, but these aren't normal circumstances. She needs you to save her life. How do you know her feelings are real and not just biology? That question had been bothering Deho too. Was Nari being kind to him because she genuinely liked him, or because she needed him to survive? He decided to ask her directly. That evening he found Nari in the medical bay's small recreation area. She was listening to music through the station's computer system, something soft and melodic from Earth's classical collection. Beautiful music, she said when she saw him. Your species creates wonderful sounds. Nari, I need to ask you something, and I want you to be completely honest. She turned off the music and gave him her full attention. Yes? Do you actually like me, or are you just being nice because you need me to save you? Nari was quiet for a long moment. The crystal patches on her skin dimmed slightly. Is fair question, she said finally. I have been thinking about this too. And? When I first woke up and learned about Life Bond, I was afraid and desperate. Would have said anything, done anything to live. She looked down at her hands. But as days pass and we talk more, I think I would want to know you even without the bond. Really? Yes, you are kind, intelligent, funny. You care about people, even strangers like me. You could have left me to die on my ship, but you did not. You worked for hours to save someone you had never met. She looked up at him. Those are good qualities in any species. Deho sat down next to her. But how can we know for sure? The biology is affecting both of us now. When you're near me, I feel different, calmer, happier. What if that's just the life bond making me think I care about you? Maybe we cannot know for sure, Nari said sadly. But does it matter? Real feelings or biology result is same. We care about each other. It matters to me. I want to know if what I'm feeling is real. Nari thought about this. In my culture, we believe all love has biology behind it. Human love also has chemicals, hormones, brain reactions. Does that make human love less real? Deho had never thought about it that way. I guess not. Then maybe our feelings are real, just helped by biology. The next day, Dr. So-young called them all together for another meeting. She had been working with Elder Taemin to research everything they could find about Villani biology. I've found some good news and some bad news, So-young said. The good news is that I think the bonding process can be made safer. I've developed some medicines that should protect both your nervous systems during the telepathic connection. What's the bad news? Deho asked. Time is running out faster than we thought. The chemical changes in Nari's body are accelerating. I'd estimate you have maybe 7 or 8 days left, not the full 20 we originally thought. Nari looked pale. Even her crystal patches seemed dimmer. I can feel it, she said quietly. Getting harder to think clearly. Body wants to bond soon. There's something else, Taemin added. I've been in contact with some xenobiologists on Earth. They're very interested in the situation. If the bonding is successful, it could open up new possibilities for human-alien relationships and cooperation. You mean we'd be test subjects? Deho said. In a sense, yes, but also pioneers. First successful human-alien intimate bonding in recorded history. Deho looked at Nari. She was trying to hide it, but he could see she was getting weaker. The life bond was demanding resolution, and her body was starting to suffer from the delay. What exactly would happen during the bonding? He asked So-young. Based on what Nari has told us and what I've researched, you would need to be physically intimate while she initiates the telepathic connection. The sharing of genetic material combined with the mental link should reset her biological systems and complete the life bond. How long would the mental connection last? Unknown. Could be minutes, could be hours. Could be permanent. Permanent? Deho felt his heart racing. Nari spoke up weakly. Not permanent exactly. More like, door that stays open. We could choose to connect minds, but not forced to always be connected. That night, Deho couldn't sleep. He kept thinking about everything he had learned. Nari would die if he didn't help her. But helping her meant changing his life in ways he couldn't predict or undo. He got up and went to the medical bay. Nari was awake, staring at the ceiling. The crystal patches on her skin were pulsing irregularly now, like a heart with rhythm problems. Cannot sleep either? She asked. No. He sat in the chair beside her bed. Nari, if we do this bonding thing, what happens after? Do you go back to your people? Do I go back to Earth? Do we stay together? I do not know, she admitted. Have never heard of successful cross-species bonding before. We would be figuring out as we go. That's terrifying. Yes, but also exciting, maybe? She tried to smile, but he could see she was in pain. Deho, I want you to know something. If you say no, I will not blame you. This is too much to ask of anyone. Deho reached for her hand without thinking. The moment their skin touched, her crystal patches blazed bright blue and she sighed with relief. That feels better, she whispered. The bonding is trying to happen on its own, he realized. Yes. Body very ready now, but I wait for your decision. Deho looked at their joined hands. Nari's skin was warm and soft, and holding her hand felt right in a way he couldn't explain. I've made my decision, he said. Nari looked at him with hope and fear in her large blue eyes. Yes, I want to try. I want to save you, and I want to see what happens between us. Nari squeezed his hand, and her crystal patches glowed so brightly they lit up the whole medical bay. Thank you, she whispered. Thank you for giving us a chance. The next morning, Deho told Dr. So-young about his decision. She nodded seriously and began preparing everything they would need for the bonding process. We'll use the private medical room, So-young explained. I've set up monitoring equipment to watch both your vital signs during the process. I've also prepared the medicines I developed to protect your nervous systems. How dangerous is this, really? Deho asked. I honestly don't know. We're in completely new territory here. But Nari will definitely die if we don't try, so the risk seems worth taking. Nari was getting weaker by the hour. She had trouble walking now, and the crystal patches on her skin flickered unpredictably. Sometimes they blazed too bright, making her gasp in pain. Other times they went almost dark, which seemed to make her feel cold and sick. The bonding needs to happen today, Dr. Jihai said after checking Nari's condition. Her body can't wait much longer. Word had spread through the small station. Everyone knew what was happening, and they all had opinions. Some crew members thought Deho was being heroic. Others thought he was crazy. I still think this is a mistake, Jinwoo said when he found Deho in the cafeteria that afternoon. What if something goes wrong? What if it changes you into something that's not human anymore? What if it doesn't? Deho replied. What if it works perfectly and Nari lives? And then what? You're bonded to an alien for the rest of your life? Maybe that wouldn't be so bad. She's a good person, Jinwoo. I care about her. You've known her for 2 weeks. Sometimes that's enough. His friend shook his head but put a hand on Deho's shoulder. I think you're crazy, but I hope it works out for you. That evening, Deho video called his sister on Earth one more time before the bonding. The transmission delay made conversation slow, but he needed to hear her voice. Are you sure about this? Hyojin asked when he told her what was going to happen. No, I'm not sure about anything, but I can't let her die. You said you care about her. Is it love? Deho thought about it. I think it might be. She's smart and funny and brave. She makes me feel happy, peaceful, like I can be myself around her. Those are good signs. But be careful, brother. This is bigger than just saving one person. If it works, you'll be making history. I know. That's terrifying, too. I'm proud of you, Hyojin said. You're doing something difficult because it's the right thing to do. That's who you've always been. After the call, Deho went to see Nari in the medical bay. She was lying in bed, breathing slowly and carefully. The crystal patches on her skin were dim and flickering. How do you feel? He asked. Weak, confused. Body wants to bond now, very strongly. She looked at him with tired eyes. Are you afraid? Terrified, he admitted. What if I hurt you somehow? What if my mind can't handle the telepathic connection? Dr. So Young's medicines should help, and I will be very gentle with your thoughts. Nari tried to sit up but was too weak. Deho, I need to tell you something important. What? During bonding, you will see some of my memories. Things from my past, my feelings, my fears. I wanted to warn you. What kind of memories? Happy ones, sad ones, embarrassing ones. When minds connect, everything's shared. You will know me completely and I will know you. She looked worried. What if you see my memories and do not like who I really am? Deho reached for her hand. Her crystal patches immediately brightened and she relaxed. What if you see mine and feel the same way? Is risk we both take? Then we'll take it together. Dr. So Young came in with a medical tray. It's time, she said. Nari's condition is getting critical. We need to do this now. They moved Nari to the private medical room. It was small but comfortable, with soft lighting and monitoring equipment that wouldn't be too distracting. Dr. So Young gave them each an injection of the protective medicine she had developed. This should help prevent any damage to your nervous systems, she explained. I'll be monitoring from outside, but I won't interrupt unless there's a medical emergency. What do we need to do exactly? Deho asked Nari. Physical bonding first, she said, her cheeks darkening with embarrassment. Then I initiate mental connection during the intimate moment. The combination should complete the life bond. They were alone now. Nari was sitting on the edge of the medical bed, looking nervous and weak. Her crystal patches were pulsing rapidly. Are you ready? Deho asked. Yes, but Deho, if something goes wrong, if I hurt you somehow, I want you to know I am sorry. Nothing's going to go wrong, he said, though he didn't feel as confident as he sounded. He sat beside her on the bed and took her hands in his. The moment they touched, her crystal patches blazed bright and she gasped. Feels so much better when you touch me, she whispered. Slowly, carefully, they moved closer together. Deho had never been intimate with an alien before. Of course he hadn't. Nari was probably the first alien most humans had ever met. But her body was similar enough to a human woman's that he knew what to do. She was gentle and patient with him, and he tried to be the same with her. Despite the strange circumstances, it felt natural and right. Now, she whispered when they were joined together, I start mental connection now. She placed her hands on either side of his head. Her crystal patches suddenly blazed brighter than he had ever seen them, and he felt something like electricity run through his body. Then her mind touched his. It was like nothing he had ever experienced. Suddenly he could feel Nari's thoughts, her emotions, her memories. He saw her childhood on the crystal world Valara, playing with her brothers in silver seas under twin suns. He felt her excitement when she became a scientist, her nervousness about her first space exploration mission. He experienced her fear when her ship crashed, her confusion when she woke up in the medical bay, her growing affection for him as they talked and got to know each other. And he realized that her feelings for him were completely real. Not just biology, not just gratitude, but genuine caring and attraction. She thought he was kind and brave and handsome in an exotic alien way. At the same time, she was experiencing his memories, his childhood on Earth, his decision to become a doctor, his loneliness working at the mining station, his growing feelings for her. The mental connection deepened. Their thoughts began to blend together until he wasn't sure where his mind ended and hers began. He could feel her body responding to their physical bonding, could feel her joy and relief as the life bond finally activated properly. Her crystal patches were now blazing so brightly that the room was filled with blue-white light. The light seemed to pulse in rhythm with their heartbeats, which had synchronized. Something was changing in both of them. Daeho could feel new neural pathways forming in his brain, connections that would allow him to sense Nari's presence and emotions even when they were apart. In her mind, he could feel the biological crisis finally resolving as her body accepted the life bond and began to heal. The experience was overwhelming, beautiful, and terrifying all at once. For several minutes they existed as a single consciousness in two bodies, sharing every thought and sensation. Then slowly, the mental connection began to separate. They were still linked, but they became individuals again. The blazing light from Nari's crystal patches faded to a warm, steady glow. They lay together afterward, both exhausted and changed. Daeho could still sense Nari's presence in the back of his mind, like a warm, comforting light. When he looked at her, he could feel her emotions as clearly as his own. How do you feel? He asked. Nari smiled, and he felt her happiness and relief flow through their new connection. Alive, she said. Strong, complete. She touched one of her crystal patches, which was now glowing with healthy blue light. The life bond worked. I will not die. And how do you feel about us, about what we just shared? Her smile grew wider. I feel like I know you completely now. Your kindness, your courage, your loneliness, your dreams, and I love all of it. Daeho realized he felt the same way. Seeing Nari's memories and experiencing her emotions had shown him who she really was. Not just an alien who needed saving, but a brave, intelligent, caring person who had risked everything to explore the universe. I love you too, he said, and meant it completely. Through their mental link, he felt her joy at his words. She kissed him softly, and he could taste her happiness. What happens now? He asked. Now we figure out how to build a life together, she said. Two different species, but one bond. Dr. So Young's voice came through the intercom. How are you both feeling in there? We're good, Daeho called back. The bonding worked. Dari is going to be fine. Excellent. Take your time recovering. I want to run some tests later to make sure there are no complications. Daeho looked at Nari, who was glowing softly in the dim room. Through their bond, he could feel her contentment and love. No regrets? She asked. None, he said. This is the best decision I've ever made. 6 months had passed since the bonding, and everything had changed. Daeho stood in the station's communication center, watching Nari work at a complex alien device she had built from parts of her crashed ship. Her crystal patches glowed softly as she concentrated, and through their mental bond he could feel her excitement. Almost ready, she said without looking up. Signal should reach my people in few minutes. Today was the day they would make first contact with the Villani homeworld. Nari had spent months repairing her ship's communication system with help from the station's engineers. Now they were finally ready to call her people and let them know she was alive. Are you nervous? Daeho asked. Through their bond, he felt her mixture of excitement and worry. Little bit. My people will be surprised about bonding with human. Never happened before. In the months since their bonding, Nari had recovered completely. She was stronger and healthier than ever. and the crystal patches on her skin glowed with steady, beautiful light. The life bond had worked perfectly, but it had changed both of them in unexpected ways. Deho found that he could sense Nari's location and emotions no matter where she was on the station. When she was happy, he felt warm inside. When she was upset, he felt restless until he could go to her and help. Nari had gained some human traits too. She had become more direct in her communication, more willing to take risks and more protective of the people she cared about. She said the bonding had given her access to human emotional strength and determination. Contact established, Nari announced. The alien device hummed and displayed symbols that meant nothing to Deho but made Nari gasp with joy. A voice came from the device, speaking in the musical Villani language. Nari responded quickly, her voice full of emotion. "Is my brother Cairo," she told Deho. "He is so happy I am alive. Thought I was dead for months." The conversation continued for several minutes. Deho could feel Nari's joy at talking to her family again, but also her nervousness as she explained about the life bond. Finally, she switched to Korean so Deho could understand. "Cairo, I want you to meet someone. This is Kim Deho, the human who saved my life. He is my bonded partner." "Greetings, Kim Deho," came a voice from the device, speaking careful but clear Korean. "My sister has told me much about you. Thank you for saving her life." "It was the right thing to do," Deho replied. "Nari tells me you have formed life bond with her. This is unprecedented. But if she is happy and healthy, then we are grateful." Over the next hour, they spoke with several Villani leaders and scientists. All were curious about the successful human-Villani bonding. They asked many questions about human biology, culture, and technology. "We would like to send diplomatic mission to meet your people," said one of the leaders. "If humans and Villani can bond successfully, perhaps our species can become allies." "That would be wonderful," Deho said. After the communication ended, Nari hugged him tightly. "They want to meet you properly," she said. "Want to study the bonding, learn how it works between different species. What does that mean for us?" "Means we become important. Bridge between our peoples. First successful cross-species bonded pair in known history." Dr. So Young entered the communication center with a tablet full of data. "I've been monitoring your vital signs during the communication," she said. "The bond is definitely getting stronger. Your neural patterns are synchronizing even more than they were last month." It was true. As time passed, Deho and Nari were becoming more connected. They could sense each other's thoughts more clearly, and sometimes they even shared dreams. "Is that normal?" Deho asked. "We have no idea what's normal," So Young replied. "You two are writing the book on human-alien bonding. But from what I can tell, you're both healthy and the changes seem positive." That evening, Deho and Nari sat together in the station's observation lounge, watching the stars. Nari was curled up against his side, her crystal patches casting soft blue light in the darkened room. "Happy?" he asked. "Very happy. You?" "Very happy." It was true. Despite all the uncertainty and strangeness, these had been the best months of Deho's life. "I have news," Nari said. "My people want us to come to Villara. Want to study the bond, learn about human culture from you. Leave the station." "For a while, yes. They are sending ship to pick us up. Will take few months to arrive." Deho thought about this. Leaving everything he knew to visit an alien world would have terrified him a year ago. Now it sounded like an adventure. What about after that? "Do we come back here? Go to Earth? Stay on your world?" "Do not know yet. Maybe we travel between worlds, help our peoples learn about each other." Nari looked up at him. "Would you like that?" Through their bond, Deho could feel her hope and excitement about the possibility. "Traveling the galaxy with you? Sounds perfect. Will be dangerous sometimes. Unknown worlds, strange peoples, difficult situations. Good thing I'll have the smartest, bravest Villani scientist in the galaxy with me." Nari laughed. "And I will have kindest, most stubborn human doctor." They sat in comfortable silence for a while, watching the stars and feeling each other's contentment through their bond. "Deho," Nari said softly, "do you ever regret it? The bonding? How it changed your life?" He thought about his old life, the loneliness, the routine, the feeling that he was just going through the motions. Then he thought about his life now, filled with love, adventure, and purpose. "Never," he said firmly. "Best decision I ever made. Even though you did not choose it freely, was forced on you by my biology. I had a choice. I could have said no and let you die. I chose to save you." He tilted her chin up so he could look into her large blue eyes. And then I chose to love you. I love you too. More than I thought possible. They kissed softly, and through their bond, Dae-ho felt her love and commitment. He also felt her excitement about their future together. 3 weeks later, Jinwoo helped Dae-ho pack his belongings. They were loading everything into storage containers that would follow him to wherever he and Nari ended up living. Still can't believe you're leaving to live on an alien world, Jinwoo said, temporarily. We'll probably come back here eventually. This station is where we met, and if you don't come back, Dae-ho shrugged. Then I'll have an amazing life exploring the galaxy with the woman I love. Could be worse. Jinwoo shook his head but smiled. You really are happy, aren't you? Happier than I've ever been. Then I guess that alien of yours was right. Sometimes the best things happen by accident. That afternoon, Nari was in the engineering section, helping Dr. So-young document everything they had learned about human-Villani bonding. The research we've done here will help other mixed couples in the future, So-young said. You two have opened up possibilities that never existed before. Is good feeling, Nari replied. To know our bond helps others find love too. Have you thought about having children? Nari's crystal patches brightened slightly. Too early to know if possible. Human and Villani genetics very different, but maybe someday. Through their bond, Dae-ho felt a flutter of excitement from Nari at the thought. The idea of having children with her filled him with warmth. 2 months later, a Villani ship arrived at the mining station. It was beautiful, all curves and flowing lines, with a hull that seemed to change colors like Nari's crystal patches. The crew was amazed to see Dae-ho and Nari together. For most of them, Dae-ho was the first human they had ever met. They were polite and curious, asking many questions about Earth culture and human biology. Your bonding has caused much excitement on Valara, explained the ship's captain, a tall Villani man with golden crystal patches. Many scientists want to study how different species can bond. Could lead to new alliances, new friendships between worlds. As the ship prepared to leave for the Villani homeworld, Dae-ho stood at the observation window, looking back at the mining station that had been his home for years. Nari joined him, slipping her hand into his. Sad to leave? She asked, a little, but mostly excited. He squeezed her hand. Ready for our next adventure. Will be biggest adventure yet. My world very different from this station. I'm not worried. I'll have you to guide me. And I have you to keep me grounded and sensible. As the ship jumped to hyperspace, Dae-ho thought about everything that had happened since that day he found a dying alien in a crashed ship. He had saved a life, found love, and opened the door between two worlds. Through their bond, he felt Nari's thoughts echoing his own. They were no longer just Dae-ho and Nari. They were something new. The first of what might become many couples bridging the gap between species. What do you think we'll discover on your world? He asked. New medicines, new technologies, new ways of thinking, Nari replied. And probably new problems to solve together. Sounds perfect. Yes, she agreed, her crystal patches glowing with happiness. Perfect. The ship carried them toward the Villani homeworld and whatever challenges and wonders awaited them there. Behind them, the mining station continued its work among the asteroids. But now it carried a new distinction. It was the place where two species first learned to love each other. In the medical bay of the station, Dr. So-young finished her final report on the bonding process. Her research would be sent to universities and research centers across human space, laying the groundwork for future interspecies relationships. At the end of her report,